Alrighty, I think this is good. I'm moving my mic 1 second. Oh yeah, that needs to be up. Where is that? Here it is. There we go. Yeah, I think that's good. Alright, perfect. Let's go ahead and start since we're speed running this. Alright. Hey. Oh. Hey, how's it going? Where's my... Let's see here. There you go. Hey, how's it going? Alright, yeah. My system is currently being pushed to work quite a bit, so hopefully things will be fine. If it continues to chug, I'll have to see about stopping it from doing other things. How about we go ahead and cancel this out? Sorry, 1 second. I'm just making sure that my computer doesn't keel over. There we go. Okay, that should give us some memory. Thankfully, the programming side of things is on a different computer, but it doesn't. I mean, it's still. Oh, all right. Anyway, let's continue programming. I have a bit of time right now, and if we manage to get through this, and we decide to, I don't know, maybe we'll play a bit of a game or something. It depends on the timing, and plus how long this goes through. Either way. So last time we were figuring things out, this morning I should say, we're going to forget about the layering because, yeah, I just can't think of a good data structure for how to do the layers. So instead I'm going to focus purely on Framer. Actually, we don't need lab coat because our examples are done. Oh yeah, we don't need SAT either because we've already parsed it out. But yeah, what we're going to do now is we're going to set it up along this way. The idea is that we're going to have each individual frame, which will contain the components, and if there's going to be no changes in set animation, then we'll just have the layer, the frame or the image that will be changed. And then these modifiers will contain, information about all of the different layers that should change at this point in the animation. By doing it this way, we can effectively cut down on the amount of excess that we have involved in, trying to decrease the amount of memory involved, and things can be properly structured it's easy to understand the structure. And then the modifiers are basically the layer components, how the layers are modified. And out here, modifier is how the different frames are modified. This allows us to stratify it, so the layer components get their own modifier config, and the frames, the composite, the overlays of all of the images have their own modifier as well. And then Framer here is just simply, this will simply be used as a way to Framer here will be a way to simply determine how the structure should be of the data. For instance, what needs to go where. There's a bunch of other things involved. Right now it's just the overlay sequence, but we can worry about more about that later. So for now, let's just focus on this and start updating the code. And because, as I mentioned, because we are going to be ignoring, let's see, where are you? There's importer. Here's frame importer. Here, this one. We're going to ignore this one. So I'm just going to collapse it for now to ignore it. Largely because until I can think of a good data structure for how to store the modifier information that works easily with how we're currently structuring our data, there's just no point. I guess that's the best way to put it. So with that in mind, why don't we go ahead and quickly do a run through. Here we go. Oh. There we go. All right, now let's see here. Folder dictionary. And then from here, if we go down, we'll find that idle has... There we go, we have framer right there. Then here are the different... Yep, as you can see here, we have all of our frames. All nicely processed. Wait, this one has 7. Why does this one have 7, I wonder? It has the frame... There we go. It has the frames and the other config. So we still need to fix the code a bit. It seems... Yeah, it seems like that's the only one. Very strange. Yeah, very strange. I'm busy going through, making sure everything is... These are the layer components. This is framer. Yeah. All right, all right. So we'll need to figure out why that one is the way it is. How about what we do is we just get back to importer real quick. So we'll need that. We can go ahead and label you. We'll label you as what you're going to be right now, which is self. All right. Now let's get over to the importers and begin processing. So let's see here. So import folders, we're going to run git file directory, and then here, once we have, let's go ahead and run this real quick. That way we can get our directory we're going to work with. Here it is. There's our hoodie, happy, there's idle, and then idle happens to have the dictionary here. Let's see, happy. Actually, let's check fidget, because that's where everything, that's where all of the information is located. If fidget. We do have to have configs all throughout this, so yeah, if there's a frame, there should be a config. This one has 5, which is expected, because this hasn't been sorted yet. Then we have our config. So here is our 2 configs. Actually, now that we've done this, let's see here. Let's go ahead and modify this one. Because we now have the config, this right here. Let's see here. If we have a config list, then we should input it in as dir temp. I thought I blocked you. I hate bots. I really do. Alright, there we go. Bot be gone. It's strange. It seems like Twitch is the only spot where we have a bot problem. Don't know why. Do not know why Twitch is a spot with bot problems. Alright then, let's see here. Let's go to... Let's see this one real quick. I know what's going on. All right. Pretty much what's going on is it's right here. We're comparing to see if it's an image format. If it's an image format, then we parse it out. I wonder if we need to do this now. How about we... I'm busy. How about we do that? All right, now that we have that, let's see here. Oh. This one now is 6, because it has the modifier right here. All right. Good to know. But these other ones do not have the modifier. Actually, why don't we make sure everything is proper first? All right then. Fidget. We have our frames. There's our modifier config. Ah, all right. Yeah, so we don't have modifier configs for all of them. Let's make sure everything is properly structured. That's a lot of modifier configs. All right, there we go. Okay. All right, there we go. Now then, let's see here. Everything has a modifier config. I should probably put a modifier config here as well. There we go. And then here, we should probably have frame configs here, because it's the top layer. All right, everything is structured. All right. I don't know if this is overkill or if I should I don't know if this is overkill. To me it makes sense. It seems pretty reasonable, but yeah, so yeah. It makes sense to me. All right, yeah, it makes sense to me. So I think what we'll do is we'll keep with that. Anyway, let's continue working on this. Let's go ahead and rerun this now. Now if we inspect, everything should now have their... There we go. So we have our config file. We have config, which will be our 2 config files. Here we go, fidget and modifiers. And then here we have the different files with the config. All right. Not really sorted, but that's fine. I think the sorting was for these, but anyway. Yep, they all have we all see the modifier config everywhere now. All right, perfect. So now that we have that, we now go to here, which is identify the bottom layer. In this particular case, we go find the bottom layer, and then we set up the folder formats. So let's go to, here we are. Now let's find our first, let's get a folder example. There we go, perfect. Here's our folder example. So we do that. Now how does frames look? There we go. Is 1 to config. We should probably remove said config first. All right, perfect. First things first, what we'll do is here, we'll go with that. Pop. Self dot. This should have, there it is, config name. And this will be configs. I don't know what they are yet. Got a list path instead. I see. So it's, wait, where's folder layers? It's supposed to be a dictionary. So, but why are we getting up? All right. Where's folder diction? Let's see here. Where's folder layers? Here. Yeah, it's a dictionary. Oh, I get it. This is a list. All right, yeah. There we go. Okay. So let's go ahead and run those. Now, there it is. Frame is 1 to 8. We have our config separated out. There it is, right there, configs. And then now we just need to go through here. So what we need to do now is we're going to go through the frames. So let's go ahead and start. All right then. I'm busy thinking, and this thing is getting annoying. One moment. There we go. Okay. That has been moved. So let's see here. So we're going to go through the list of frames, which happens to be 0 to 8. And then while we're doing that, we're going to get from folder layers. So let's go ahead and start with that. We'll go ahead and... All right. Here's our layers. There should be a config in here. There it is, right there, config. All right then. If, let's see here, layer dot suffix. There we go. So that should make sure that the layers, there we go. Now our proper layer names is that should have worked. It's because it's not. It's because they're capitalized. All right. There we go. And no, that didn't work either. Let's run this real quick without that. For layer and layers, let's see here. This is capitalized. Got it. If that is in there. All right. There we go. That should fix the problem. There we go. Okay, so that's the directory list. Now for here, we want to find the config. The config is hard-coded. In fact, I'm going to call it as it is. Modifiers.config. And this is going to be the let's see here. Let's see, and this is going to be the I call it the frame config, but we'll rename it later. That is what I call it, right? Yeah, frame.config. All right. Alrighty. So let's see here. Now then. Let's see here. I'm busy thinking. We don't need to run this multiple times. We just need to pull out the config file. Or wait a second. No, we need to run it here. Okay, yeah, we need to run it here because we're going through all of the frames, so it has to be here. But what we can do is we can go with layers we can run the same thing. But this time we're gonna we already know what the file is. It should be here. So can I just go with, let's see here. If I go with the first file in layers, and we'll go for the stem. Oh, root. Oh, okay. Screw it. All right. Wait. Come on. Not name, not suffix, parent. There it is. There we go. That should be our... And then from this, we'll simply do a join path. Self dot. There. And this is not the config yet. This is just the yeah, this isn't the config yet. This is the path. Technically, we already have the path. It would require me to make this a for loop to parse it out, so that would be the faster route. Maybe I should do that? It would, how about, we'll I guess we'll just leave it like this. Let's see here, load JSON. There we go. Oh, framer object has no attributes. Modifier oh yeah, yeah. And there we go. So that should be the config file. Let's check it out. Here it is right here. There we go. There we have our PNG, we have our tail, these are dictionaries, and then we have colorize and bounce. All right, that is correct. All right, yeah, that is correct. Now, all right then. We have our configs up here, which is for the frame. There's our path, so there's our... I'm trying to keep track of multiple things, which is why my brain is having trouble. Yeah, my brain is not as good as other people's. Sorry about that. Alright then. So we only have this right here, so why don't we do this? First things. These right here are going to be the global files. So we have two configs we pulled out. Alright then, so we have two configs. The first one is going to be the layer, or we'll call this the... We'll call it the frame config. And the frame modifiers. And then here, this is the layer modifier config. There we go. That way we know what each is a part of. These here coincide with the index. These here coincide with the frame. So when we load these, these should have information about the index values. So why don't we go ahead and... Actually, since we already have this as a list path, what I'm going to do is configs. I'm going to turn this into a dictionary. Alright then, so we'll call this p.name, p. There we go, and then finally this will be the frame config, and then this will be the modifier config. All right. Error and key modifiers config. Ah, it's because I called it modifiers. They're all called modifiers. So let's make sure that this is proper. That is called modifiers. So it crashed right when we were doing this, huh? I have configs, don't I? Yes, I do. Frame modifiers, alright. And then there's our string. Yeah, that should be correct. Alright. I wonder why it complained. Oh, there we go. Oh, I know why, I know why. It's because of this. Alright. It's because of that. Alright. We should probably put down the... There we go. All right, I think that's good. Now where else are we calling that? There we go. Okay. There we go. That should save us with that. So now these should be out. So here's our modifiers config. Yep, there it is. Here's our framer config. There it is. So now we just need to load those. Now here's the thing. We have the configs. I think rather than us loading it here, this should be a layer. Let's see. This should be a layer component thing. So let's see here. So we're going through the frames. We find out all of the names. We then get the, here it is right here. So technically this here I'm going to go ahead and... I'm going to... 1 second, let me copy this. And then we're going to go through the... Let's see, that's the prior names. This is the prior layers. Because they all have a config file, then we don't it will all right, let's go through this. Let's run through that. Where are we? There we go. There's sequence modifier. Let's go to sequence frames. So yeah, there it is right there. This is framer. There's the modifier config. I'm busy just trying to... I'm just busy looking through... Because we go through layer right here, and then we append. Alright, I think what I was originally doing makes sense. Let's go ahead and bring that back. Alright, yeah, so we're going to pull out the config file for the layers. We're then going to run through this. Here is where we build the framer. Right here. So I think what we should do is we should pull this out like so. We'll call this the new frame. Now with the new frame, dot layer. Let's see here. Not well. So what we get here is we're zipping prior names and we're zipping the layers to make a name item combo. We're then appending layer names. Yeah, pretty much if this is in the layer, then we ignore it. Otherwise we compile it. Then from here, we then input in layers and the image manipulator that we want to use. And that's from this we make framer. Now, because we are processing, the frames should all be processed up here. So I have an idea. It's always such a trying to figure this thing out. It's always kind of a game. So let's see here. I'm wondering. Part of me feels like we should and we should add the code here. I mean, this is where we're doing the, here it is right here. We're adding in the layer components. We're zipping up the list of the names as well as the path list and generating our layers. So we're doing that with right when we generate Framer. Alright, so what I'm trying to do here is I want to keep the image modifiers and image mode enum. I want to keep these within Framer because if I end up trying to do any additional processing to our config files here, then I'll be importing in those libraries. And the last thing I want to do is input in those libraries into the importer code. Because then at that point I should just put, kind of smash all of these things together. So with that in mind, once we get the config files and we located them, technically we should pass them into Framer. Or we should at least then tell Framer where they're located. We have our frame configs here. These are the general information. So if we, let's see, I think I already loaded up one, didn't I? These are technically layer information here. So these definitely need to be loaded. So we'll go to JSON. There it is. So let's go ahead and load that. And we'll load this one as well. And these should be dictionaries. Let's go ahead and load those up. Oh. It's in double quotes. I see. Oh. All right, yeah. Some of it is a bit broken. Oh. Let's see here. Where are you? Here. Maybe I should close out all of these. Not that one. We want to go here. Happy fidgets, and then there it is, this one. First things first, let's modify this one. Make sure everything is proper. Oh yeah, this is a dictionary, so we should probably do this, and we'll call this the overlay. Oh, actually, we already have that, so we can get rid of that. There we go, like that. So that should be frame. And then this one we have, if I recall, they were complaining that these need to be... Actually, I think maybe this can still be a number. Let's try. If it complains, then we'll fix it. All right. Complaining there, and that one's fine. All right. Expected property name enclosed in a double quotes. Anyway, let's go over here to frame config real quick. Hey, here it is. And then there we go, overlay sequence, and followed by here. So now that I have that, because if you remember what I was originally doing was I was sorting. Let's see here. where's my other sort? Oh, actually, I think, yeah, I actually think that I wasn't originally sorting. I was just, it was kind of like an auto sorting because everything has already been put into the file. So with that in mind, we now can exit. I can worry about that in a sec. Let's continue getting this working. I have a feeling it doesn't like the one being, I think all of those have to be. Anyway, let's see here. Actually, all the frames are listed as if you look here, all of the frames are 01, 02, so technically we could do the same. Let's keep things a bit similar. There we go. All right. And there we go. All right, modifier. So we now have our frame modifier. We have the frame config, which is nice. And then from here, why don't we go to our modifier mixin? So we have, I originally removed the loading and the saving of these. But what we can instead do is we can do process modifier dictionary. And then from here, we'll just simply take and we'll call it modifier, or yeah, modifier dictionary. There we go. Now that we're taking this dictionary, so hey Exo, how's it going? Oh, doing well, doing well. I am busy having fun coding right now. I have a bit of time on the weekend, so I thought, why not? Actually, if you remember the other day, we were having a conversation about brains and sleeping and all that stuff. Well, in a nutshell, they've released a new video which actually talks a lot about it. I would definitely recommend checking it out if you're interested in how memories are formed. It talks about sleep and such, so it's quite nice. Alright then. Let's see here. So we have the modifiers. So the first thing we want to do, we've already loaded it up. We're going to run this code here. There we go. And then this will be our... this should be our dictionary. There it is, modifier dict. There we go. Oh. Alright, so now that we have our modifier, our processed this. Oh, I definitely recommend it. Oh yeah, I definitely recommend checking it out. Hey, Phasemat. Phasemat. How's it going? Fun name. Let's see here. Alright, so this will process our config. Now, the main thing we need to remember is that our config structure. Do I have a link to the video? Let me go ahead and toss that into the... let me go ahead and toss that in. Let's see here. There we go. I send it out. Oh, it says 281 seconds. I would recommend removing the 281. Yeah, I would recommend removing the 281 seconds because that will mess with the time. So yeah, just do That. There you go. Yeah, just do that. We can watch the video in a bit. Or actually, if you want, actually, we could watch it right now if we want. Though if I end up watching it on stream, I'll be butting in an awful lot, which is not really indicative for enjoying a Kirkashot video. But I digress. Let me get back to programming. So let's see here. I think what I'm going to do is have this output a dictionary, and then this will have the image modifiers followed by an any. There we go. Yeah, I know it's static, but I think that's fine. Actually, let's see here. Technically, what we could do is we could tell it to input it in. Why don't we do that? So instead of having this send it out, let's go ahead and do this. Instead of having this send it out, this will go into processed images, and then processed images will then be how about we do this? For that. Oh, yeah. All right, then for key value in modifier dict. Let's go ahead and just do this. I do not like it when it does that. I really don't. I know that the program's trying to be cheeky, but whenever it does that, it always pisses about and messes my stuff up. Alright then. And then here will be self.modifiers. Modifier is equal to value. Something like that. There we go. So that way we'll process a list of modifiers. And then from that, what we can do is I can just simply pass in my dictionary that I want for it to be processed. All right then. So let's head back over to Framer real quick. Part of me feels like I should probably add in a I can probably add in an optional thing here. But no, maybe not. Because we have two sets of modifiers. and I don't want to mess them. I don't want to intertwine them. The whole purpose of putting the mix in right here is so that let's see here. How does our config look again? Oh. All right, how does our modifier look? There it is, eyes, tail. Those are the ones that have modifications in the code. And then from here, we should be using that for the layers. Because everything is auto processed within our framer, I mean, the layers are just being dumped straight in there. Actually, let's see here. Instead of this being a list, this should probably be something else. We're making a list right here. So there's our layers. Yeah, there's our layers. This is where we're cycling through, adding in the stuff that's been missed. And then once all of that is set, why don't we do this? Let's see here, layers. I'm always thinking about the best way to do this. Let's just get it working, and then we can worry about cleaning it up. Let's see. Because part of me feels like I could just run through that again. But we've already currently running through this. So... oh... Alright. Okay, I have an idea. So we have layers. We pulled this information out. We now know what's available. We also are now processing, finding out what is there and what is not. So the first thing we want to do is, after we go through here, we do the processing, we want to convert layers into a list of, instead of paths, a list of dictionaries, or a list of dictionaries, pretty much. So from this, we first pull out our item and the name. Now, if the name is in layer names, that means we're passing this. Then what we'll want to do here, let's do this. So this will be called the layers dict, and this will simply be a list of dictionaries, which will have a string and a any. All right. So then from here, we'll then go with layers list dot append. And then from here, we'll have the item, which happens to be the name. Oh, this is going to be a dictionary. Now then, this should be the all right, so this is going to just be a basic path, followed by the modifiers. Something like that. And then likewise, at the bottom, what we're going to do, we're no longer going to append to layers. Instead, we're going to, let's see here. We're actually inputting in, if you look here, prior layers, these are, because we're keeping track of these. We're zipping them together as well. All right. Let's see here. Let's see here. Where were we last? We were here. Okay. Don't mind me, I'm trying to figure this out. So technically the layers list which is just this right here. We should just immediately convert this layers list into a instead of it being just a frame, we should immediately convert it into a dictionary. So all right. Yeah, we don't need that now. We'll just append to layers, like we were originally doing. But in this particular case, instead of making this... think. These should be these should be dictionaries. These should be dictionaries. Just trying to get the modifiers in here is a pain in the butt. So first thing, we go through our first frame, we grab our folder list. This should be the layers right here, so that's all our paths. Then we go through and we find all of the names that happen to coincide with that. So we can combine these two together into a, we'll call this here layers. This will be a dictionary of strings with a dictionary that happen to be a string and any. And then from here, this will be a double loop. So this will be the layer.name to another dictionary where it'll be self.path. And then this will be layer followed by self.modifiers. And then this is going to be none. This is currently going to be none because we'll be updating that one. And then for layer in layers, and then we'll get this here as well. There we go. That's a bit of a lengthy boy, isn't it? But what this does is it combines all of it together into one function. And how much do you bet I'm missing something? It does not have path. All right. We should probably add path. Let's rerun this like so and get this to work. Oh, let's see here. Framer importer has no attribute path. No, it has path. Oh, I think I know why. We forgot to do that. There we go. Now it should work. Ahaha. All right. So now we have layers. And there we go. You can see the different pieces. They're all properly structured. So now when we go through, so this is no longer needed. We're doing it there. Oh, actually, there we go. Technically, it's because I'm doing a copy here of the frame. So there we go. And then from that, what we can then do, part of me feels like I could zip it, but let's not do that. Especially since the modifier is not it's not exactly that setup or that structure. But what it is that we can, let's see here. So now we have, so yeah, now we need to go through in this. Why don't we go ahead and do that? There we go. That way we can still get our modifiers. And then from here, we'll go ahead and pass this in. Prior names and prior layer. there's already a glitch here. I can see it because once we add everything in, I guess it's just the way that we have it set up. Once the frames start being inputted in, then oh yeah, if I remember, we were actually having input that in as well. So let's go ahead and get that in there as well. That should be here. So here's our overlay sequence. And then, so there's our overlay sequence. And then our next thing we're going to add in is going to be our I guess we'll call it layer mode. All right. So static, and then let's see here, static. We'll call, actually, this one should be, we should use this as the static example. This should be used as static. This should be used as dynamic. And then we should have one more. And this should be repeated. So let's see here. Actually, instead of using repeat, what would be a better word? So the idea here is dynamic means that we have multiples of the same name. For instance, AAI. This is going to try and get at another problem that I'm trying to think of. This pretty much is where we're going to have these different frames that we generated. They could actually have slight variations in them, as in the eyes could be different, or the mouth could be different, or the body could be different, which is what I want to do. And then that way I can get rid of how this is currently set up. Because if you look here, we have hoodie at the very top. This is where the clothes are located. But what I would like to do is I would like to go in here and then let's see here. Because we're going to make the body dynamic. Here I have that. So let's go ahead and set it over here as well. So static. This will be YY body. This will be dynamic. And then last but not least, this will be ZZ tail. And then this will be whatever it is. Whatever, we'll call it static for now, but there's a third option. Actually, since there's a third option, we're going to call it CCCC until we can figure out what that's going to be. But yeah, so if you look here, for instance, image-wise, this is the Halloween costume. Do I still have an example of the Christmas one? Let's see here. I have lab coat, happy, fidget, body. Nope, that's the Halloween one still. Intro, maybe. Aha, here we go. We'll just grab this one for an example. So we'll go to fidget, we'll go to 1. Then we'll rename this to YY Actually, this should be what, CC body? Okay, it should be YY casual pose. I'm busy looking around. Why is it casual pose? I just called it casual pose. All right, I'm going to change it. I'm going to change it to... This is going to be YY body. There we go. And then from here, we can then have another... So this is also a YY body. And then from here, we'll call it 2. There we go. So yeah, the idea here now is... Yeah, the idea here now is, as you can see, we have YY body and we have 1 and 2. And then we can switch between them. Now, if you look at my character, I can actually switch between the outfits. So as you can see, this is what I would like to do. I would like to switch these outfits out at this level. And then that way, I don't have to have an extra stratification. I can just have it all down at this level, because ultimately the main thing that changes would be those. Now, yeah, that would be what it changes. This potentially could run a risk, especially when I want to change the structure of the eyes or change the structure of the, if I want to do a bit more involved, like the eyes will be a bit different or the body will be different. In which that case, I could probably just continue with the stratification. But if things are going to be kept the same, for instance, an example, again, let's go back to my example here. Like, look at the eyes. In this case, the eyes are white. But if you look, the eyes are all the same. And it's the same for all of the different poses. So as you can see, the eyes are all the same. So this is kind of what I want to program in. Whether it makes sense or not, that's the again, because I can think of 1,000 different things. For instance, for the Halloween outfit that I was making, the eyes are actually very different. It's a very angry looking eyes. So if that's the case, then I probably wouldn't want to have the different bodies positioned here if I'm going to change the eyes out. I guess to think about it as it's all about modulation, because I could easily set it up so that it would do something of it. I don't have to do it exactly here, but having it here can have its benefits. That's kind of the way of thinking about it. So for now, let's see here. With that in mind, we need to make edits to the code. So dynamic means that there are going to be multiple set. In fact, let's write this down somewhere here in the notes. I'm going to put a note down. Oh, actually, we can put it in here. We can put it in here. In fact, I think I have an enum, don't I? Layer components, animation components, image mode, folder structure enum. Yeah, here it is. I had keyframes and animation. The keyframes are individual images that are part of other images, and then the animation are images in folders, or animation pretty much were, yeah, you get the idea. So in this case, we'll put in dynamic. And then this will be And the description is pull prior images. Oh, I see it. I see the IDE is getting a bit low on memory. Let's close out the other IDE. I have 2 open right now. There we go. Okay. So yeah, pull prior images from folder. Pull prior images from, or to build frames, and then static. Only part of the frame. Only part of the frame. Or only part of this frame. Only part of the frame it is found in. There we go. So yeah, we have static, we have dynamic, and then something that we're going to do with body. I think that we can be keyframe or keyframes. And that way it would be, yeah, we can call this keyframes then. So that means in this particular image, there we go. In this particular image, our layer modes, our eyes, our VR eyes, again, I'm thinking. Oh, I'm trying to think of all of the different edge cases. Because technically, should the image mode be here, or should we put it in with the frames? Like, go grab the previous thing. But go grab the previous file. That's exactly what you need. If I do something like that, then it would definitely make things a bit easier. Why don't we go over there and have a peek? Let's hop in here. Let's find our config. Because right now this is, that's our modifiers. Oh yeah, this is just the modifiers here where we have the image name followed by what they're called. So technically I could call this the frame and then it could have all of the information. If I did that, where we had the picture and then we had the config file for it, that would help out a bit. That would be a lot more files hanging out though. But would that make sense to do it that way? I mean, if I did it that way, then all we have to do is look for the image and then find the config that goes associated with it. And then from there, we can then import in the layer components. That would actually make things so much easier. And then, but then what about the dynamicness? The dynamic and the static. How about we just stick with our original plan for now, just so I can start generating stuff, and then we can go in and start digging into this later. I think having individual configs would make a lot of sense, but at the same time, that's a lot of extra files that need to be generated and processed. All right, then. So let's see here. Now, this is the problem with generating something. You would need to know the data structures. All right, so we're generating our dictionary. Oh. All right, then. So we're generating our dictionary right here. So there we go. There's our layer dict. And then from here, we can then proceed to go through. We no longer need to find the... Let's see. First things, yeah, we're pulling out all of the files that are not, you know, they're in the image format list. So that means we're no longer need to do any popping. There's our config information. We don't need prior names now. Well, we still need prior names. Oh, technically, we don't need prior names now because we're now using a dictionary. So this is going to just be a... Yeah, this is just going prior layers. And then this will be a dictionary as well. There we go. And then from here, what we do is we'll just now start cycling through. So prior layers dot items. That will pull us out the name and the item. There we go. Now, if the name is in... Now, it's not layer names, but what it is if it's in the layers.dict.keys. So if it's in the keys, then here we can, since we've already built out part of it, what we can do is we can go in to layer dict. Let's see here. This is going to be a double thing like this. So self.modifiers. Like that. And then this is going to just be name. Something like that. So if we're there, we do this. And then if it's not here, then we have to regenerate it. We have to do this. So let's go ahead and do that. So layers dict is going to be equal to, or layers dict with the name is going to be equal to the prior. So item. Yeah, it's going to be equal to item. And then for layers dict name, and then pretty much we're going to be running this again. Like that. In fact, because this is going to be ran twice, all we need to do is oh, no, I just remembered. Yeah, we need to do this. Okay then. And then last but not least, prior layers is now equal to layers dict. There we go. So why don't we go ahead and run this entire thing and see how things turned out. Let's see, we're looking for our sequence frames. So here's sequence frames. Yeah, we got it's expected right now. Let's see here. Tail. Yeah, because the config is there. But then all of these happen to have 2, which will have the... Yeah, it looks like it's working. All right. Because we're not done yet. Technically, let's see here. Let's go to... let's see here. Why don't we just output our layers dict for now. We'll go ahead and rerun this. That way we can look at the sequence. Oh, let's just run this one right here. Now let's check out sequence frames. It should just be a series of dictionaries now, right? 5, yep. And then here's the double dictionaries where it contains both the path and the modifiers. And then let's see here. This has bounce. That was the tail. So let's see. VR eyes should have color eyes, and then VR should have nothing. Yep, none. Perfect. All right. That is perfect. Oh yeah, that is perfect. Because now we can, when we feed in this stuff, it will provide the path so we know what to load, and then it knows what the modifiers need to be for that particular layer. And then, yeah, I think that's perfect. Yeah, I think that's perfect there. And then... I'm busy thinking. I'm thinking again. I think that should be fine. Let's go over here. So our layers. Actually, quick question. Sequence. Yeah, VR eyes is first. So we do want to reverse this when we hop into this. All right. So image manipulator or framer. So this happens to be our image path list. This is no longer a list though. This is a dictionary. This happens to be a dictionary with a dictionary that has a string and then any. And then from here, once we get our path list, instead of grabbing the, let's see, this is the temp image, so we can get the size. So first things first, we should do that. Then we need to get the, let's see here. We need these two. I know that good programming, you would have these be globals, but let's not worry about that right now. We can worry about if we need to make it a global, we can make it a global. This is the wrong code. We want to be in Framer. Particularly, we want to make a couple consts. There we go. Now then. There. So this is technically this is still a list, isn't it? No, it's not. It's a dictionary. Right here, it's a dictionary where we have the value followed by the I believe we're inputting in this dictionary, aren't we? Yeah, we're inputting in this dictionary. So, yeah, we're putting So this is a dictionary that has also going to be it's a dictionary with a value. A double dictionary. I think I'm going to have to write something to process double dictionaries. But nonetheless, this is the path list. So this is a dictionary with a string and then followed by any. Why don't we go ahead and, because my brain is fried. My brain is fried. Let me hop back down here. So we have layers. It's layers dict that we want to pass in now. So we'll go ahead and do that. This is technically an iterator. If I do, let's see here. So there's our layer dict. It is not organized. Oh, it is not properly organized. Yeah, that's a big problem. We need to sort this. The tail's right above the eyes, which is, the tail should be at the very bottom. In fact, this is, even says it right here. It says ZZ. So ZZ should be right down here. Let's see. There should be a sorted dictionary. Can I do that? No, I can't. I was hoping I could. All right, let's quickly go check that out. I remember in Python there's a sorted dictionary. So Python sorted dictionary. Let's see. Yeah, we could just do sorted, and that's one reason why I was using lists. It's nice and easy. Oh, I can just sort the items. Let's try that. That turns it into a list, though. But let's try it. Let's try it. So we'll go with items. And then we'll go with sorted. And then we should have a... Yep, that is correct. There we go. All right. That is perfect. Let's do that. Let's do that. There we go. Actually, should I, again, I'm thinking about the best way to do this. There's an awful lot of, man. All right, I think that would be fine. We do get our sorting. And then from here, we can then do that, so it will end up inverting the sorting. There we go. And then that way, when we start adding things, we know how we're going to be doing our processing. Part of me feels like... Let's see here, we'll call this the D4D in this. And then what we actually want is the second value. Tuple is out of range. Oh, whoops. That needs to be a 1. All right. There we go. And then that will be, that should be, all right. So we'll call this the, We'll call it the component or layer component. Layer component list. This is going to be a list of dictionaries. There we go. And then we can feed that in here. Now let's go to Framer. Let's grab this real quick. Let's go into Framer. Now here we want, this is the path list. We actually have the name list right here. It's a separate file. Why don't I actually feed that in as well? Let's see here. You know what? I'm just going to leave it as is right now. We'll just leave it as is right now. I do have that in here, so if I want to add it in later, but for now we have our path list. This is the image path list. We're going into the first layer to get the path file. This will be a temporary image, so we can get the image size. Then once we're here, if there's no image name list, then we'll go through path list. And in this case, we'll just need to go with, let's see here, we'll need to do this. Path, there we go. That will get our name list that we can then input in. Then from here, we're going to zip it. Okay, then it makes. All right. I don't know why I deconstructed it, just so I can reconstruct later. Because we already have the name information. We already have all this information. I think it's because I want to keep them as separate as possible. So that means, yeah, it's a waste of processing. But anyway, let's just run with it right now. All right, so here we now go. We're going to compile our name list with our path list. So this will be image dict right here. So then we'll go with image. Path is going to be image dict.get. And then this will then be self.path. And then image modifiers is going to be this, which will be image dict.get. And this will be modifiers. And here is just simply the layer components where we're going to be inputting in the path. So image path, we're going to input our name. And then I should call this layer component. Put that right here. And then from here, we'll go with the layer component. Add modifier. Image modifiers. And then layer component. There we go. Now then, so the idea is that here is what we're getting. We're getting this. Now, actually, we should do, this isn't add modifiers. This should be parse modifiers. So parse process. there it is, process modifiers dict. And then from there, everything should be golden. Now, the next thing we need to do is we need to add modifiers to our framer. Now to do this, once we get to, let's see here, now that we get here, we are now have our new frame. So new frame dot process modifier dict. And then from this, we need to grab our frame modifiers. Because we have the name of our index is a number, isn't it? Yes, it's a number. So we should probably process our, let me think real quick. Because they're going to not be identical. Like this is 0, 1. Part of me wants to do the sort real quick. Part of me wants to do this for the... Actually, why don't we do this? Let's go over here. It's always easier to modify. It's always easier when we have an example. Here we go. Modifiers config. So our first frame is colorized like this. Let's go ahead and add in another one. In fact, I'm going to be silly and I'm going to call this, I'm going to say the 5th frame is modified, and then that's the end of it. We're not modifying anymore. Just the 1st frame and the 5th frame. 1st frame and 5th frame. So that means we have to... All right, so because of that... I see the bugs. I see the bugs, and I just need to figure out, because part of me wants to go, I'll just convert this to a number. Let's go ahead and load up our modifier config. And then if you look at our modifier config, oh, that's the layer. We want to open up this one, the frame config, or the frame modifiers right here. And then we look at that, we can see there's a 1 and there's a 5. And we're like, oh, hey, everything's good. Everything's golden. But that's not the case. I think it has to do with how we're structuring the, when we do the structuring right here. I believe I just do an IDX. Here it is, get to directory. Here's the name, list, sort by list. Actually, once I've run this, what does data dictionary look like? Is it already set up? And let's go in here real quick. Hoodie, for happy, idle. Oh yeah, it's already, here it is. They're all already numbered. So once we pop straight into here, we then go all the way, here's the key, layer. Once we go down, we find the, we're actually end up, let's see here, what does the frame modifiers look like when we get here? Or, sorry, not frame modifiers. What does the output look like once we get here? when we do the... Oh, I see. We're doing a self-processing. All right. It's probably a little bit broken right now, so I don't think... Yeah, I don't think we'll be able to look at it. So let's just try and put in a mental image. Folder layers. Oh, actually, this actually helps out a lot. They're all sequenced already. That is actually very useful. So that means IDX is where... All right, there we go. Okay. All right, I figured it out. I figured it all out. So, frame. We're generating a list right here, and we're sorting it. In fact, there's our list of names right there. And then that's the name of the frames. So that means when we go here, I just need to put in frame. Or I just need to get the frame. So let's do that real quick. Frame modifiers dot get frame. And it has nothing because frame is 8. So what happens if we set this to frame? Let's see here. Frames. Let's set this to the, let's set it to the, there we go. The 5th one. Hey, there we go. Perfect. So let's just go ahead and do that. So frame modifiers. Dot get frame. Frame. And then from there, that should be the processing of the new frame, and then we can put it right here. So that should be everything. Let's go ahead and tempt fate. All right. Tempting fate. Let's go. And I need to load everything up first. Let's go. Crash. And there we go. It crashed. JSON decoder. Could not parse. Expected a parameter enclosed in double quotes. Oh, okay. All right then. Well, where exactly is this error occurring? Let's see here. Where is this occurring? Which layer are we at? Frame config. So we're messing up frame config. Let's get the frame config. Frame config. I think it might be static, dynamic, keyframes, keys, image sequence. I think it might be layer mode that's causing the problem. Yeah, I think it might be layer mode. Because that was not there originally. All right. We're going to put this here. Let's just go ahead and modify this and get rid of the layer mode. There we go. That should solve our problem. And I copy. Oh, all right. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We can figure it out later. Let's go ahead and rerun this. And we're now throwing another error. Let's see here. Hoodie, happy. All right, I'm going to just go ahead and grab, let's see here. That loaded fine because we tested it. So let's just grab config and overwrite all of these. There we go. And let's make sure that these are correct as well. Yeah, those look correct as well. Actually, if I remember, modifiers here should be different. It shouldn't look like this. This should be, it should look like the modifier right here. So let's go ahead and copy and paste. Let's see here. Yeah, they should look a lot like this. So what I'm going to do is we're going to modify this and delete these in here, because technically we don't need that. We don't want to modify anything in this one. At least not yet. And then last but not least, the talking modifier. Plus that's not correct. That's not correct, and that's throwing an error. All right. So now that we have that, let's try and rerun this. And now we're getting an untype. All right. All right. Okay, yeah, now we're getting an untype. So with that in mind, that means it's because our image modifiers, there's nothing there. So modifier mixin, framer, yeah, it's pretty much right here when we're trying to process the image modifiers. So that is a mixin problem right here. Now, if modifier dict is none, then we're just going to logger and say logger debug no modifiers, skipped adding. And then from this, we need to be input logger. There we go. And we should just return. And then likewise, we should probably put a return none right here as well. All right. Let's go ahead and rerun everything. And it it was blazing. Did you check that out? Look at it. All of that debugging information. Oh, check that out. All of our debugger information. Processing animation. And then we're skipping all of these because they didn't have any modifiers. I should probably switch that around and say we added modifiers, because it's a bit weird that we skip it. So what I'm going to do is go to the mixin, and then we'll just do that. And then here we'll log debug, and we'll say add modifiers. So add modifiers. And I guess we'll leave it like that for now. But now we're here. It threw an error. Self modifiers value, none type. We ended up doing this right here in the importers. And I think that's because we're not doing that anymore. Let's see. Self.modifiers parentheses modifier equals value. None type object does not support the item assignments. So process modifiers dict. So it's not that one, it's in our importer section. So new frame, process modifiers, modifier get name. Okay, let's go ahead and restart that. Let's go restart that. Let's try and rerun. I'm gonna, let's see here. Let's rerun these again. Oh, but this time we get a different error. Processed, and then none type does not exist. Okay. All right, let's head back over. Let's head over to importers and see what's going on. Folder dict not defined. It's. I wonder why it processed everything so easily earlier, and then now it's complaining. Let's see, directory path. There it is, free sample. So, okay, let's go over here to import folders. Let's see here. First things first, we do this. Boom, perfectly fine. Then we try to process them, and then we get into an error. And if we get into an error, all right, let's see here. Let's go all the way down to, let's go down to where we need to go. Here it is, set up the folders. I'm not using frame config, that's fine. We're not using that right now, that's fine. None type assigned. Self.modifiers.modifier is equal to value. None type value. So it's still, So we're at fidget. Let's run through here. Folder configs layers pop cannot do that. Wait, what is it? A1 2. Actually, where's configs? Wait, where did configs go? Wait a minute. Did I just mess something up? Let's go back up here and import in our data. So import the folders. We do this first. So now that we're here, let's go to our directory path. Oh, sorry, not, oh, let's see here. Directory dict. So we have our hoodie, we have our animation, we have the different points. So there's happy, there's idle. So here we have config, and then we have our layer. And then here we happen to have this information. So there is config right there. And then here are the layers. So let's go down. So our folder layer is going to be this. Now folder layers, it has config. So now what we're going to do is we're going to pop it. And then from here we have config dict. Then from here we process these. We process these. There we go. There's our file, or there's our data. That's our frame modifiers. And then we start running through here. All right, so let's see here. Where's the problem lying? first frame, 0. We've run this code. We now have our modifier path, our modifier dict. There it is. So we have our colorize. There's the eyes, colorize and whatnot. So then we go through here. Oh, it might be that. No, or maybe not. Let's run this. There we go. And then here we have our layer dict. And the first thing to notice is all of these are none type, even though we should have modifiers. So it should be here. Yeah, there it is, like eyes. Oh, am I doubling up name? No, I'm not doubling up name. This is .png, ARIs. Yeah, they're the same. Okay. Let's see here. We should have name here, because I ran it already. Oh, I do not have name. Prior layers. Prior layers is nothing. Wait a minute. Why is it nothing? Oh, it's because we're at the first frame. Got it. So that means we're going to run these, like so. Oh, I see what the problem is. All right. Yeah, okay. I see what the problem is. It's because this is the first frame. That means when we run through this, we're not going to even be doing the other stuff. Because this has no info in it. That means we're not going to be running this code. So, in other words, we should probably, we need to change this up. Yeah, we need to change this up. Because this is not right. Alright, so let's look. It made sense earlier to... yeah, it made a bit of sense earlier. Because then we could easily just go, oh, hey, here we go. This is what's prior. All right, so we'll run that. Now we have our layer dicts right here. There's all of our data. I should probably do a comparison first. That is probably what I should do. So let's go to frame 2. Let's run this to frame 2. So IDX should be 1 and frame should be 01. Let's go ahead and grab these. Oh, actually, and before that, let's go ahead and set up prior frames. So let's see here. We want to, let's not worry about the adding in the modifiers yet. Yeah, let's not worry about adding in the modifiers yet. Let's instead just copy over the prior. Yeah, this. Let's see here. I guess we'll just call it layers dict, because that's technically what it is. Alright, so now we have that. Let's run through here. Boop. Yeah, everything's going to run fine now because we have a prior dictionary. We have priors. So the main thing is setting up the first one. let's go ahead and rerun this so that we at least have layers dict is not fleshed out. Layers dict is now fleshed out. Let's see, frame should be 1. Oh yeah, I think because with tech, oh yeah, this should actually be 2. Let's change this to 2. Whoops. All right. That should make things make more sense. All right, now here we should, there we go. We only have tail. And then we'll go through the prior list and then go through and see if that's present. Yeah, part of me feels like I should have I could easily fix this by just saying if prior list is none, then skip, or priors is equal to this, and then start filling and then start running the code. But I think a more appropriate option would just to do a maybe. Oh, this is always very annoying. Okay, let me think. I'm going to do the simplest option right now. That's what I'm going to do. If prior layers is, let's see, prior layers is none. None. If prior layers is none, then what we're going to do is we're going to do prior layers is equal to layers dict. There we go. A simple little patch, and we should probably put this, we should probably change this to do. Yeah, update so not looping through prior. All right. That should solve our problem. And all right, now we're having another, we're still having the problem. Let's get back over here. We already have self. Let's go grab our, let's see here, folders dict, or folders layers. Data dictionary is not defined. Oh, yeah. We need to run the code up here first. There it is, that one. All right. And then we'll want to run this again. All right then. Still messing up on the first one. Let's see here, layers dict, prior layers. It's the, oh, it might be, let's see here, layer dictionary. The layer name, let's see here, this is name, which is here, which is name. So this happens to be, what is name? Name happens to be that. So what is this one? This happens to be bounce. Okay, so where's the... Okay then, so wait, where's the problem? Is it the... Is it this? No. Modifiers.value. Layer components. So we're doing framer, so we're inputting in the file. Then we're going to do process modifiers, image modifiers. Then self modifiers is equal to value. None type does not support item assignments. So it should be self.modifiers in the modifier mixin of framer. Let's see. It's this right here, this set of code. But I thought I put in the mixin. If this is not, if the dictionary is none, then return none. Just skip it. So why is it throwing an error here? Especially saying that there's a none type. It's complaining about this bit right here. Or how about we do this? All right, then, if, let's see here. If value, then do that. Otherwise, yeah, just do that. I think we're supposed to be... All right, yeah, let's just do that. I think, well, yeah, when I initialize, I set it to that. Oh, I bet I know what the problem is. It's because there is no modifier. But, oh, am I? All right. I should probably input in a logger somewhere. Well, anyway, let's go over here real quick. Where is our image modifiers? Colorize, bounce, transparency, warp, rotate. Let's make sure that colorize is correct in our folder, in our modifiers. Oh yeah, that one doesn't have anything. We're having trouble with fidget. Nope, these are correct. Colorize, colorize. What about in here? I think bounce is one of the ones. Yeah, colorize, and then bounce. Let's see if bounce is correct. Bounce. Yep, that is correct. Actually, quick thing. Am I actually outputting the file correctly? Why don't we actually do this real quick? Let's see here. Image modifiers. Image file. Get modifier by name. Bounce. Okay, bounce, and I think I found the problem. Colorize. Yeah, that's not working. This is a class file. This should work. I mean, we're looking for modifiers.name. Oh, I found the problem. All right, That is a... I thought I found the problem. There we go. A typo. A very annoying typo that prevented that from working. Okay. So with that and done, it should solve that issue. Let's go ahead and rerun this now. And all right, it's still throwing the error. But it's still throwing the same error. Why? Now what? Why is it throwing the same error? We just fixed the we just fixed that. All right, let's... All right then. All right, why are you still throwing an error, you? All right then, none type supported. So this is correct. When we get to the prior frames, it's when we now, let's see. Layer, it is still layer component. It's still this line of code right here. It's that line of code when doing the layer component thing in Framer. So let's see here. We have our layer component list right here where we have the different files. Let's go into Framer. Let's see here, modifiers. Here's layer component, image path, file name, process the image modifiers. Let's see here. This is the, let's see here. This should be the image path list. So layer component list. And then from here, let's go ahead and Framer. Oh, self is equal to Framer. Actually, before we do that, let's just go ahead and run down this list. It's this line of code right here. So path is the same as the other one. So I think if we run this code, it should be fine. Yeah, there we go. So there's our image list name. Oh, it has two bodies. I'll have to fix that. But there we go. And then the next item is the path list, which is what we already have brought in. So now that we do that, let's run this. And then we'll break at the beginning. So now we have image dict. And we have name. So we'll first process these. We'll get our path. There's our path, our modifiers, which is bounce. We then will run this and we get this error. Let's run that first. That is fine. And then process. None type value. Okay, I think I might know what the problem is, but when we call layer components, we're doing the initialization. Where's layer? Oh, actually, where's layer components? Actually, that's a good question. Wait, are we doing the layer component, or are we calling the initialization code in layer components? We are calling it. It is right there. You can see it right here. Layer components. Initialize. So we are initializing when we call layer components. Let's see here. Let's see here. Why don't we go ahead and run this? Layer components. Layer components. it wants an image path. So what we'll just do is we'll just create a fake path right now because it's not going to check. Eat my shorts. All right, so there we go. There's a layer called eat my shorts. Now then, if we go to, we should probably put this in a dummy file, a dummy variable, a. Now, modifiers comes back as none, but why does it come back as none? Why is it but if we are initializing it, we're doing the initialization step right here. And, oh, actually, maybe that might be it. That might be it. Yeah, okay, that might be it. That might be it. Let's, it might be another typo. Let's pretend that this is going to work and just try and run everything and see. And it's still none type. It's still none type. Let's see here. Is it still, it's still the same one, isn't it? Yeah, layer component. So in other words, is this still not initializing? Yeah, it's still not initializing. Yeah, I do not understand why. It's just not. Modifier mixin. Literally right there, the very first line in our initialization code is to set modifiers to to build it. All right, I'm going to look this up. Real Python. All right then. Python inherit and initialized variable. Hey, Stack Overflow. How are my friends? All right, so here we go. Text.parent initialize, and then ... All right. Parent, child, self. So you need to call the constructor of the parents class here. Then initialize in parent. Or parent dot self. Okay. All right. Let's do that. All right. So let's just go to layer components. This needs to be layer components, self. Let's run that again. There we go. Okay. Apparently I was just missing the self. I had the code right. I just missed that one bit. And anyway, that should, let's see. I bet it's going to barf all over itself again. And there we go. Now we made it a bit farther this time. Yeah, we made it a bit farther. This time the error occurred right here when we're doing new frame, which is fine. I forgot. I do need to fix this one here. There we go. All right. But that's a good sign. That's a good sign. That means our code might be working. And it's done. All right, perfect. All right, our code is working. Okay, now that we have that, let's do a quick check and see, is modifier working? No, modifier's not working. Let's see here. Path list. Path list is containing these items. Oh. Okay, there's not many components in this one. Hey, it worked. Nice. I don't think I put a colorize in this one, given that this is the talk animation, so why don't we do this? Why don't we do this? Let's go over here to, let's change this to fidget. Because if you remember, we put in the first animation, we have ourselves a colorize. So we'll do that. And let's see, did it change the color of the eyes? And the answer is no. All right, it did not change the color of the eyes. Now the question is when I do compile images, am I actually applying the modifiers? No, I am not applying the modifiers. Let's go ahead and rerun this and see about applying modifiers. All right then. Now then, it did not apply the modifier again. All right. We added in a lot of modifiers, especially in the fidget. Why don't, let's see here. We have let's see here. This, all right, a dot. I'm going to go to layers. Let's pick the first. We'll go with the tail, zz tail.png. And then let's see here, modifiers. It has, wait, it just has bounds. Wait, it just has bounds. That's gonna be, okay then. Which one? All right, let's see here. How about we go with VR eyes? Oh, this should also be AA. And the lowercase i's. There we go. We have colorize. Granted, this is, yep, here it is. There's our image enum, colorize. All right then, so let's see here. Now what we need to do is, let's go to our framer. Apply modifiers. Here it is. Now if we're going to apply our modifiers, what we want to do is we'll want to run through our, let's see here. We pick image, which is we pick an image and then we present the modifiers. Composite image and then modifiers. This composite image should have a dot modifier. This should have a colorize. Yeah, it has a colorize. So let's see here. Self dot a. Now then, let's head on down here. Composite image. Let's see, self dot image. That should be our, that should be the image we want to use. So let's call this the composite image. There we go. Now then. All right, there we go. So now here we have this, and it's going to just become processed image. The image union is not defined. There, processed image. So modifiers. So let's go with modifiers dot self. Modifiers is equal to self dot modifiers. So let's see here. We have our list of modifiers. It's a dictionary of modifiers. And then we have our processed image right here. So let's see here. We should only have one item. Modifiers happens to be this, and then we have the value, which happens to be that. So is modifier similar to colorize? True. So then we should... Oh. I found the problem. I found the problem. We're not outputting. Okay then, yeah, we're not outputting. Once we finish processed image, then... Okay, so... Alright, I found the problem at least. Let's go to apply modifiers. Let's see here, we're using it predominantly right here, which is to the apply the modifiers. And then here, we're only applying modifier. We haven't actually done it up here yet either. So let's see here. So apply modifiers, and then, in other words, we need to output this as a composite image, like so. This happens to be... This is framers, yeah, so... And then we need to return processed image. There we go. Yeah, that is a... There we go. Okay. We forgot to output that. So let's go ahead and see. We should be nearing... This should be correct now. Okay, we're done with the mixin. We're done with the utils. We'll layer components. We'll keep that. We'll close that for now. Importer, we need that open. We need that open. Just in case. All right. And here we go. Unsupported types. Do I have a warp? Oh, bounce. Bounce, bounce. Bounce, bounce. Where is bounce? Image modifier, or here's our enum, bounce. We claim that's an integer. So, animator, framer, here it is. So, bounce, right here. So in bounce, we're putting in our image size, and our value. So we need to go to image manipulator. Image manipulator. All right, let's go to image manipulator. Now we need to go to bounce. Bounce, 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 bounce. So here we then warp, and then we have our image size, and then we put PA and PB. Now, unsupported operand. This and this. Okay. So there's an operand that we need to... yeah, there's an operand that we need to... All right, so let's head down to CV2. Here it is, since this is what we're using. This. Because of the fact that we are saying if the matrix is none and PA and PB are present. Unsupported operand types for this, bool and list. Um, yeah. Oh, I see. I see. Um, maybe if I do this, I wonder if that will be sufficient. I doubt it, though. Yeah, it was. I kind of thought so. Yeah, I kind of thought so. These are redundant. I think it's because this is a bool. Because that's true. It is not. A bit. All right. How about we do this? Oh wait, it's just that the fact that it's a bool, it is unsupported for booleans, which means I can't use it here. So, all right, and all right, and 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 and. All right. Do we have any other if statements that have those? Let's look for ampersand. Here we go. Here. I believe this is the... All right. And that should be all of them. All right. Animator. There we go. And there we go. It's done. Perfect. Look at it. Aha, look at it. It is working. We have now composited our image. We still have the two bodies, so we'll have to worry about that. But look at this. We've composited our image. We can colorize. Now then, because of the fact that our colorizing of this layer is a bit excessive, why don't we go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and remove these. Or I'm going to go ahead and copy this and put it in idle. And then in fidget, we're going to go ahead and remove those. There. And with that, let's go back and rerun this. All right then. And then the only thing, there we go. The eyes have changed. Perfect. Hey, look at that. Now we can modify the layers individually, and we can modify the overall picture. It looks like the body, the second body has bounced a bit, because if you look, it's the ears are, or it might just be the hat. It might just be the hat. But nonetheless, we have that set. All right, so that is turning out quite nice. All right then. All right. What we should probably do is we should probably start committing our changes. So first things first, we'll commit this, and then we'll say made JSON loading a util. There we go. For importers, we did a lot. Let's see here for this. Yeah, we look at this. We did quite a lot. So for utils, so Let's see here. We'll call it framer importer. Add in config parsing, or add in config finding. Add in config finding and parsing. And parsing of modifier data, or of modifier config. There we go. Yeah, that was all in the vein of parsing out the configs, but the modifiers. There we go. Okay, let's commit that. Now then, for framer, all of these need to get... Let's go ahead and update all of these. So for this one, let's see. So in this one, we, this is framer. So framer, add parsing for modifiers, add modifier into image compilation, fix bug in initializing modifier. There we go. That's the first one. Next is image manipulation. In this case, it was manipulation, fix bug with fix type error with what was the bug called? I do not remember the bug name. Did I spell manipulation wrong? I spelled manipulation wrong. We're going to have to fix... I'm going to have to fix that. Manipulation is spelled wrong. Manip, you, and then there should be an L right here. Manipulation. I'm missing the L. We'll fix the... We'll rename that in a second. Fix type error with... Oh yeah, fix type error with warp code, or with warp. Oh yeah, fix type error in if statement in warp. Fun. There we go. I think that's good. I think that's good. Oh, whoops. I forgot to do the other ones. Whoops. We'll keep the derp face. Image modifiers. What do? We fix the code. So for image modifiers, so fixed bug in, or I should say, oh yeah, fix bug in get modifier by name where it did not output. It did not put output file. There you go. And then the enum. This is simply just add dynamic and static to enum. And then finally is animator. And in this case, we can worry about that later because, in truth be told, animator is, we don't really need animator much anymore. All right then. But with that in mind, we are now on the next step. Okay, so first things first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into here. We'll go ahead and remove body 2 for now. We'll keep the modifier there, and we'll keep the modifiers here, because that's now correct. All right then. Now then, that's correct. The next step is to put these together. So let's see here. So now we're here. We now have folder directory. As you can see, we have our intro. We have our talking animation, which contains, we have our intro, which is 4 frames, talking animation, which is 3 frames. It technically should be 5 frames, but we'll worry about that later. And then we have the tail, or the fidget animation, which happens to also be, well, it's a fidget animation, which means there should be 12 frames, but it's 8 right now because these are all not properly organized. So what we can do from here, though, is all right. So what we can do here now is let's see here. I've been programming for 3 hours. We've managed to get to this point in time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop off and start dealing with things like, because my dogs are bothering me. The doggies want to eat. It's time to eat. They're like, I want to eat now. Please feed me. I am ever so hungry, even though I ate my carrot earlier today. So, okay, I'm going to hop off. So what I'll do is I'll hop off. I will deal with the dogs, make sure that they're nice and happy and content. And then if I have time, I'll come back and start. We'll stream some games. That sounds like a good idea. So if I'm done, we'll see you on the other channel. Until then, you have a good one. Next time, what we'll do is we will put this data here, our folder dict, what we've generated here, and we will output it into our, we'll combine. So I think that might be what Animator will be. Animator will run this code to, Animator will run, or will take in, and it'll take in files. For instance, here, it'll take in our file importer. It will take in our code for extracting or for generating our images, and then it will run through and do the task. So that's what Animator will do. So we'll try that next time. But until then, have a good one. Dog is making so much noise. Listen to him, he's making so much noise.